first, to give a welcoming speech on behalf of one of the co-organizers of today's event is Mr. Mitsunori Torihara, Chairman of the Board of the Japanese Paralympic Committee. Would you please welcome Chairman Torihara?
Sir Philip Craven, President of the International Olympic Committee, the IPC Governing Board members, distinguished guests, thank you very much for sparing time to attend our reception today. On behalf of the Japanese Paralympic Committee, let me offer our warmest welcome to our reception today. I am truly delighted that the event has been such a success. Our mission is to carry this success forward to the Tokyo Paralympic Games in 2020 and contribute to the further development of the Paralympic movement. In this sense, I hope that our reception, like the flag handover in the closing ceremony, will build a bridge between Rio and Tokyo. In Japan, the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games is leading unified collaboration by the national and Tokyo metropolitan governments, the Japanese Olympic Committee and the Japanese Paralympic Committee to forge ahead with preparations for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Never before has a city hosted the Summer Paralympics twice. This has prompted us to make the success of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic one of our key goals. Looking back, parasports in Japan have developed over more than 50 years, spurred on by the Tokyo 1964 Paralympic Games and the Nagano 1998 Paralympic Winter Games. However, we have not yet achieved enough in terms of promoting widespread interest in parasports and raising competitiveness. In the aim of changing this situation and encouraging future development, the Japanese Paralympic Committee to Tokyo in 2020. Thank you very much. Obrigado.
Thank you, Chairman Torihara. Next, to give a welcoming speech on behalf of another one of the co-organizers of today's event is Ms. Yuriko Koike, the Governor of Tokyo. Would you please welcome
Honorable President Sir Philip Craven, Honorable members of IPC, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm introduced, I'm the member, I'm the governor of Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Yuriko Koike. I'd like to thank you all for coming to this event, and I'd like to thank all your cooperation, first of all. And all good things come to an end, and the 2016 Rio Olympic and Paralympics Games that brought great joy and inspiration to all of us will come to a close at the closing ceremony tomorrow. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to congratulate all the people involved in the preparation and operation of Rio 2016 and on the great success of the Games. And I'm happy and honored to be with you at this reception, sharing in the emotive climax on the eve of the closing ceremony. The Tokyo 2020 Japan House has been operated as a joint effort by the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee, JOC, JPC, as well as various governmental organizations of Japan since the very beginning of the Olympics as a hub to showcase Tokyo and Japan's various attractions to the world. I am so happy to hear that over 80,000 people have visited the house and enjoyed their experience. In the Tokyo metropolitan government area, we exhibited various water-related initiatives such as round-trip, water tree, and tap water projects. Thanks to these and many more exhibits, I'm sure many people are now looking forward to the Games in Tokyo in 4 years. The success of the Tokyo 2020 Japan House could not be achieved without the heartfelt support from all of you who are in attendance today. I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for all. Throughout the Games in Rio, we, as the next host city, have learned a great deal about how the Games are operated thanks to the International Paralympic Committee and the Rio Organizing Committee. At the closing ceremony tomorrow, I will receive the Paralympic flag from the mayor of Rio through Philip. I will not be in traditional kimono this time, but maybe in the costume of Sailor Moon or Hello Kitty. Well, you will know tomorrow. And I'm honored, but at the same time, humbled to be succeeding at Games as successful as Rio 2016. I'm committed to working hand in hand with everyone here today and making every effort to inherit the passion and great achievements of Rio 2016 to put towards creating a successful Tokyo 2020 Games. Tokyo is ready to welcome the world with its famous hospitality, omotenashi. So please visit Tokyo in the near future. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Koike. Next, I would like to invite Sir Philip Craven, President of the International Paralympic Committee, on stage to give an address as the guest of honor. Would you please welcome Sir Philip?
Okay.
Konnichiwa. It's great to be here at Japan House with less than 4 years to go until the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Mori, the President of the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee, Mr. Muto, the CEO of the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee, Ms. Koike, the relatively new governor and obviously dynamic governor of Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and if I may say, Torihara-san, chairman of the Paralympic Committee of Japan, for their invitation and for their kind hospitality. From the moment in tomorrow's closing ceremony when Ms. Yoriko Koike, again governor of Tokyo, receives the Paralympic flag from Rio's mayor, Pais, the eyes of the world will turn to Tokyo. Although the Games have yet to finish here, my excitement levels for Tokyo 2020 are already extremely high. Under the leadership of President Mori, and he is a great leader, let's not kid ourselves there, the organising committee has built an outstanding portfolio of sponsors and has shown a huge level of enthusiasm to deliver hugely successful Paralympic Games in 1,438 days' time. Never during my whole time as IPC President have I come across an organising committee as committed to the Paralympic Games as Tokyo 2020. 4 years ago at the closing ceremony, I described London 2012 as the best ever, but I have a strong feeling that Tokyo could surpass London's achievements. I think Tokyo 2020 will be truly a global Games which will propel the Paralympic movement to new, unimaginable levels. With major commercial support, I expect there to be huge awareness of the Games, leading para-athletes and full venues full of passionate fans, just like we have here in Rio. In addition, I expect broadcast coverage to take a big leap and showcase the Games to new audiences. The IPC is delighted to have a long-term partnership with NHK, and we believe we will be able to build on the 154 countries that are currently covering the Games here in Rio. The greater TV coverage will help captivate the world with the outstanding stories that our athletes have to tell, both on and off the field of play. As shown over the last days, with hundreds of world records being broken, athletes are getting faster, stronger and more agile, and I expect athletic performance to be even better in 4 years' time. This combination of improved performances and greater TV coverage will amplify the impact the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics have on making for a more inclusive society. I really do believe that we can come close to fulfilling the IPC's vision of enabling para-athletes to achieve sporting excellence and inspire and excite the whole world. Another key factor in the success of a Paralympic Games is the performance of the home team. Under the leadership of my good friend, Mr. Mitsunori Torihara, Chairman of the Board of the Japanese Paralympic Committee, and the President Yasushi Yamawaki, who is an absolutely great guy, I am sure that Japan will be much further up the medals table in 4 years' time. And don't worry about the golds. You're getting silvers and bronzes here, which will be transformed into gold in 4 years' time. With a new training center funded by the Nippon Foundation, oh, it says it here, it says it again here. Many of the bronze and silver medals Japan has won will be turned to gold in 4 years' time. So I've repeated that twice. To finish, I'd like to wish everybody an enjoyable final 2 days of the Games. I also ask you over the next 4 years to try to work out how you can transfer the passionate atmosphere of Brazilian fans and the carioca to Tokyo venues for the next Paralympic Games. That's the task I pose to you in Rio 2020, in Tokyo 2020, I'm sorry. Thank you, and let me get this right, arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Sir Philip. Would you please remain on stage?
Thank you.
Games. Would you please come on stage? May I present Mr. Toshie Mizuochi, Senior Vice Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. Thank you, Senior Vice Minister Mizuochi. I would like to ask the Senior Vice Minister to remain on stage as we move on to the Kagami-biraki ceremony. The Kagami-biraki ceremony has been an essential part of any joyous event in Japan from ancient times. Traditionally, the sake cascade has been called a kagami or mirror because of its flat, round shape. The act of breaking the lid of the cask and sharing the sake within has therefore come to be called Kagami-biraki or opening the mirror. It is also said that by opening the mirror, one also opens the door to fortune, which has led to this being considered an auspicious ceremony. We would like to ask the representatives of the guests of honor here today to assist the co-organizers in performing today's ceremony. Now, I will introduce the names of the members who will participate in the ceremony on stage. Mr. Mitsunori Torihara, Chairman of the Board of the Japanese Paralympic Committee. Ms. Yuriko Koike, Governor of Tokyo. Mr. Toshiro Muto, CEO, the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Ms. Sae Tsuji, bronze medalist of athletics, women's 400 meters, T45, 46, and 47. Mr. Carlos Nuzman, President of Rio 2016 Organizing Committee. Mr. Javier Gonzalez, Chief Executive Officer of the IPC. Mr. Yasushi Yamawaki, President of the Japanese Paralympic Committee, member of the Governing Board of the IPC. Mr. Mohamed Al-Hameldi, member of the Governing Board of the IPC. Mr. Takuro Yamada, bronze medalist of swimming, men's 50 meters freestyle, S9. Mr. Junichi Kawai, chairperson of Paralympians Association of Japan. He was chosen as a 2016 Visa Paralympic Hall of Fame this September. Mr. Leonardo Picciani, Minister of Sport of the Federative Republic of Brazil. Mr. Yukihiko Nunomura, COO, the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. Mr. Kunio Umeda, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to the Federative Republic of Brazil. Mr. Yutaka Komatsu, member of the House of Representatives. Mr. Jairus Mogalo, member of the Governing Board of the IPC. Mr. Emilio Kalil, President of Fundação Cidade das Artes. Ms. Luisa Elena Torajano, President of Olympic Public Council. Is everyone ready? I will shout 1, 2, 3. And on yoisho, I would like everyone on stage to break the cask lids with your mallets. I will give an explanation in Japanese once again. 1, 2, 3. そしてよいしょの掛け声でお開きください。I would also like to ask everyone here to join in the count. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. よいしょ! That was a magnificent breaking of the list. Thank you everyone who participated. I would like to call on Mr. Toshiro Muto, CEO of the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, to lead us in the toast. Mr. Muto, would you please say a few words and lead us in the toast?
On behalf of the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee, I'd like to thank you for joining us here today at the Tokyo 2020 Japan House reception. I would like to say congratulations to our friends at Rio 2016 for hosting these wonderful and historic games. Sir Philip Craven promised that the athletes would show us the true meaning of sport and the true definition of ability. There is no question this is what we have seen last 2 weeks. Personally, I have been very moved to witness such achievements firsthand and to understand that there is truly no limit to human possibility. I know that millions of people worldwide have seen thrilled and inspired by these games. Tokyo 2020 Japan House has been opening throughout the games time, and the total attendance is almost reaching up to 80,000. We believe it has been a great promotion towards Tokyo 2020 Games. Rio 2016 Games will be having the finale tomorrow, and so I'd like to give a toast. Please join me in raising your glass to celebrate the success of the Rio 2016 Games and the achievement of Japanese the athlete team, and to pray for successful delivery of Tokyo 2020 Games. Kanpai!
Thank you, Mr. Muto, and thank you everyone on stage. Would you now
Thank you very much. Obrigado.
Thank you everyone on stage. Would you now please leave the stage? Next, we hope that you will take this time to enjoy conversing with your fellow guests as you partake of the lunch that has been prepared for today. Now, please relax and enjoy the rest of the reception as your time permits.